All right, I have gotten in the habit of talking about other people's material because I want to try and piggyback off of their fame and their pre-established audiences. But today is not that day. Today I talk to you about Compression Man, a project completely unique to me and something that I am quite proud of. So, it started out as this story that so I guess we got to go all the way back. Let's go back to 2012. It's been 10 years now, and that's why I brought it back to life. But at any rate, way back in 2012, I wasn't recently introduced to the world of Xbox. I was introduced to the world of Xbox Live back in 2009. Left 4 Dead was my first game that I played on Xbox Live. And at the time, my parents live out in the boonies. And at the time, the best internet that they could get was satellite internet. Well, satellite internet, at least at the time, had a major data cap. And if you exceeded your data cap, they would balk you right back down to your dial-up speed. And so, obviously, online gaming takes a major toll on the internet. And if I were to online game on that service, we'd be back down to dial-up within like 20 minutes. So, they offered a limits-free time period where you could use your internet as much as you wanted and you would never cap out. And that time frame was from 3 in the morning to 5 in the morning. And so I would go to bed super early Friday night, and I would wake up at 3 a.m. Saturday morning, and I would game from 3 to 5, and then go about my day from there. And that was my introduction to Xbox Live. Well, a couple years down the road, eventually my parents get a better internet service. Better in the fact that it does not cap their data, and it's like just barely fast enough to run Xbox Live. But, there's me on the billboard. Not much fast enough to do much else. It was like 1.5 Mbps. It was a thing. So at any rate, years go by, I'm on Xbox doing my Xbox thing, and at first I was very much so one of those, you don't talk to the random people online persons and online safety and all that good stuff. And then I don't remember exactly who or what broke that levee, but at some point in time I did finally get around to hanging out with people or talking with people on Xbox. And I still remember a lot of my really early on friendships that I formed, and if I really dug around I could probably dig out who the first was, but this isn't the place for that. So at any rate, fast forward to November of 2011, and that was when I made two it was the summer of 11. The summer of 11, I made a very impactful friendship, Grim the Reaper, and he and I met over the summer of 11, and we became fast friends. And then I met Brendana Kadur November of 11, and he and I also became fast friends. And those two individuals blew up my Xbox friendships to a whole nother level, in that they then introduced me to all of their friends from real life on Xbox, and what proceeded to happen was 3 or 4 years of just epic, awesome parties. And so at any rate, by the new year 2012, I had a pretty stout group of friends. It was Grim the Reaper and all of his friends, and Donna Kadur and all of his friends, and at times we would all intermingle. It was the whole thing. And I'd always wanted to do something with animation, and I had decided at the time that if I was going to do something with animation, I should pick up a software myself and do it. And so that's what was decided, and that's what I started. But I didn't know what I was going to actually animate. I thought about doing, what was it? I was going to just do a bunch of parodies of Black Ops Zombies, because Black Ops Zombies was extremely relevant at the time, and people were parodying it a lot. And as I've already said, parodies are a good way to piggyback off of something that's already famous and get famous yourself. And so that's what I was working on for a good while. And eventually I abandoned it because anyone who's done animation knows it's a whole lot of work. And if you want to animate something to the quality that's in your head, it's even more work. And so I shelved the whole thing. And then at some point in time, I think it was around April, because that's when the first episode actually came out. So around March, well, it was probably around March, now that I know what I know, because Brandonicator's birthday is in March. So I bet you Brandonicator had a birthday, and he spent a lot of money on compression shorts, and which is essentially underwear. And we all thought that was just the silliest thing for someone our age to spend their birthday money on, was a bunch of pairs of underwear. And so it sparked this inside joke about a character called Compression Man who gets superpowers from his underwear, and that is why he spent so much money on compression shorts. And so voila, Compression Man is born. And just in light of that fun little inside joke that we created, I decided that was going to be my first animation. And so I made my first animation. I used the pencil software, and it was decent enough. It was what you would expect from a high schooler trying animation for the first time. It was a hit with the Xbox crowd because they knew the jokes, that was funny to them. And then from there, it kind of grew, and it became this larger than I had ever anticipated thing, in that I started bringing in other Xbox friends of ours and random Xbox people that we ran into, and Compression Man as a whole turned into a retelling of our online history, if you will. And I decided at the time that I really wanted to hit 50 episodes, and that was going to be my goal. And after I graduated from high school, it became increasingly harder to keep up with it. I graduated from high school, I got a job, was going to college, and so Compression Man kind of took a back burner. On top of that, a lot of my Xbox friends either moved to PC or just stopped getting on Xbox, and so it's like we had what I would consider to be like the golden years, which was like from 2011 to 2012, if I'm being honest. 2011 to 2013, kind of, sort of. Another thing, so I graduated in 2013. Another thing that happened that year was the Xbox One. And so when we all got off the 360 and moved to One, that was a major change as well, in that not very many people actually made the change. And so now we're new console and we're losing people left and right. But at any rate, the fun times did persist. Is that the right word? But yeah, so we had a good time. I made Compression Man. It was all about just the wacky adventures of us and our Xbox stories and everything that we ran into Xbox related. And it's a good time and good memories for, I think, a lot of people. And so in April of 21, or at some point in time in 21, I realized that Compression Man's 10th birthday was coming up. And I was like, I should probably figure out what to do with this. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to get it actually animated. And I'm going to make a whole big project out of it, and it's going to be fun. And also at the time, I anticipated that I would bring it back, that I was going to make Compression Man a thing again. And so I'm just now realizing that I hope I didn't forget one of my phones. Nope, they're both in one of my pockets. All right. At any rate, so yeah, I was gonna bring Compression Man back, and that was going to be a big thing. And so I made the first episode, and it was great. I really liked the product at the end of the day. I actually combined like the first 3 episodes into one, because the first 3 original episodes were only like a minute long, and this was like a 5-minute short, so I combined them all and we got one big short out of it. And so then I started work at the time on episode 2, and I thought that my sound guy was good to go, and he was going to keep working on it as well. But eventually he decided that he was not going to do that, and we got 2 minutes into the second episode, and I started playing around with sound, and I didn't love what I was doing. And so the project got abandoned, and it got abandoned for the better half of 21, or 20, yeah, probably 21, because I was probably done with Compression Man episode 1 in 21, I would bet. At any rate, 21, 22, 23, all of those years go by, and I've more or less just kind of stopped working on the project. And then you get to the end, like fall of 23, I get the itch to do another animation project. I'm like, okay, I have the itch again. This time I'm going to do something legit. I'm going to do something real. And that's what I had decided. But then I did the same thing that I always do when I get the itch for animation. I go down the route only to discover that animation is very expensive. There's no way in hell I can afford it. So then I abandoned it in favor of something that I can afford, which is the style of animation that we've been doing Compression Man in, which is basically just an animatic with color and basic detail. And so, at any rate, this year I was like, you know what? No, I'm doing it. I'm bringing it back. The catalyst to that was the, what is it called? The Planet Comic-Con that I went to in Kansas City. That was the catalyst. Because I was like, I need a piece of work that can get a fandom like this, like these people's work have. And I think Compression Man has that potential. It's wacky and zany and funny with characters that are memorable. And so I think that will be my thing. And so I've decided now to pick up episode 2 again after however many years it's been, and actually try and retain a release schedule. I was going to try and do that the original time. I was going to bank up a couple of episodes and then start releasing it on Wednesdays or something. But that did not happen. And so as a result, it just kind of fell apart. Well, now I'm piecing it back together again. And so I'm going to get the second episode finished. And then when it's done, it's been a couple of years, so I'll ping my sound guy again and be like, hey, any chance you want to jump back on this project? If he says no, then I'll do the sound myself, which I don't love, but I at least think that I can make something of it. And so, yeah, that's my big news today. I got part 3 back, and I'm going to announce it on Instagram on Friday, and Compression Man will be coming back to the world and I cannot wait to share it with people again. And so hopefully the reception is good, and that can be my thing. I will continue writing books. I don't think I'll ever stop with that, but it is very difficult to promote and or one of the words I'm looking for. It's very difficult to promote and or establish an audience with books, because you got to find readers. You got to find readers who care about your project or want to care about your project, and it's just overall it's a difficult process. So having an animation and all the books and everything else, I think, is the better way to go. The barrier to entry is low, as they would say, because that's part of it. Like with books, there's a natural amount of work that goes into just consuming a book or reading a book, and then the amount of work that goes into finding the book that I wrote, making it a reality, or whatever needs to happen, and it's just a lot. So hopefully Compression Man will hit the episode 2 in May, and then we can continue to go from there and do something awesome with it.